Generally, I like to begin our financial literacy portion of the year by asking students what they think when you hear the term economics. Remember, I'm just asking you what you think, so there is no right or wrong answer. We usually get some spot on answers. People will mention things like money, jobs, businesses, taxes, government, the stock market. All these are definitely a part of economics, but economics is about more than money. At its simplest, it's about why we choose this over that. And all of us are faced with those types of decisions, and they more often than not have nothing to do with money. So understand, a significant portion of our financial literacy slash economics units will deal with money related topics, but economics is about more than money. Before continuing, I think it's important for you to be able to pronounce a few basic financial literacy terms. Usually we do this in the sharing is caring, Sesame Street type format, hence the Bert and Ernie pick, and the reward for this, by the way, is me showing you a picture of what Bert would look like as a human being. As we go through these terms, please do try to say them aloud. Normally, we do this together. However, alone, there is no one there to judge you, so this should be easy. The first term is economics. We look at how it's phonetically spelled ek, nam, ix. The second is economy. Phonetically, I, con, me. Lastly, the most challenging for people, the one on which they partially choke on their tongue, economist. Mist. This is the starting point because if you are all going to become amateur economists, you need to be able to at least correctly pronounce these very basic terms. And as promised, marvel at the horror that is real world Bert. So what is economics? Our textbook defines economics as the study of how people choose to use their limited resources to satisfy their unlimited wants. Again, the study of how people choose to use their limited resources to satisfy their unlimited wants. Hopefully, at this point, as an eighth grade student, you can distinguish between wants and needs. Wants are like our Christmas wish list, the new gaming console, the new snowboard, a live-in maid. Needs are required for survival, and as human beings, we have a number of needs. They can be emotional or psychological, like love, safety, or friendship, and they can be physical needs, like food, clothing, and shelter. If you are like most people, your wants list is probably really long. Economics attempts to determine how and why people choose this instead of that, because you can't have it all. On this slide, we also see the term resources, which I believe you probably have some familiarity with, probably from sixth grade social studies. But let's build on that knowledge. So what are resources? Resources are used in making goods and providing services. Again, you probably have some familiarity with this, with the idea of natural resources. At this point, if we were all sitting in a classroom together, I would ask you to volunteer some examples. Oftentimes, we hear examples like wood from a forest, oil, water, etc. But at this time, as amateur economists, we need to look at resources in a new way. In economics, resources are not only natural resources, but they can also be human resources. How are human beings resources? Well, we're not talking about taking old people and grinding them up into a paste to be served to the younger, hipper generation like you and me, a la Soylent Green. Check it out, Soylent Green is people. No, here we're referring to labor, skills, knowledge, etc. that human beings bring to the workplace. It doesn't matter what type of business you are talking about, they all need human resources. In fact, that's part of the reason why you're here in school. Just like any other resource, some are more valuable than others. Take various metals, for example. Would you rather have right now a pound of iron or a pound of gold? Would you rather have a gallon of insulin? Even though you're not a diabetic, insulin currently retails for $9,400 a gallon. So, would you rather have a gallon of insulin or a gallon of water? Human beings also vary in value. Think about the value expressed in dollars paid of a restaurant busboy who clears tables after people eat and a brain surgeon. The brain surgeon gets paid significantly more. Why? Because if someone is going to crack open your skull and monkey around with your brain, you want to make sure they have extensive knowledge and training as it relates to that particular task. And not everyone has that knowledge and skill, hence, the brain surgeon is more valuable, expressed in terms of dollars paid, as compared to the busboy who clears tables. This is one of the many reasons you pursue an education. With greater levels of knowledge and skill, the more zeros you will convince someone to add to your paycheck. If the greatest skill you develop is pushing a broom down a hallway, don't expect to make as much money as someone who understands the ins and outs of our complex legal system and makes their living as a lawyer. So, the problem we're referring to is in economics referred to as scarcity. This is the situation of not having enough resources to satisfy all one's wants. We'd all love to have a solid gold toilet, or a diamond encrusted Mercedes Benz, or one of the best NBA basketball players of all time play for our team. But there are, in some instances, see LeBron, not enough to go around. Why does LeBron James make so much money? Well, because among elite athletes who have very rare skill sets, he has an even rarer set of skills. Because that set of skills helps make teams better, they win more games, which results in more ticket sales, more merchandise sales. Teams fall over themselves trying to throw money at the LeBrons of the league in an effort to convince them to bring their rare human resources to their team. It's all about economics. Lastly, what is an economy? An economy is a system for making choices about the ways to use scarce resources that are used to make and distribute goods and services that fulfill people's needs and wants. Again, an economy is a system for making choices about the ways to use scarce resources to make, distribute, meaning spread out so that they can be consumed, goods, which are physical products you can pull from the shelf, and services. So, this would be the idea of paying an individual with skills to perform a task for you. Perhaps it's mow your lawn, perhaps it's seal coat your driveway, perhaps it's mend your broken arm. But we pay people for those skills. In other words, an economy is a system to make, sell, and buy goods and services. There are many different systems or economies used to accomplish this, and tomorrow we will look at a few and what makes them different.